little flower that he finagled from the guards on a rock, on a hot rock that he found. And one day I was in Colorado, and it was at Passover, so we were looking for matzah to make a seder, and everybody would say, "What the hell? What's matzah? What's matzah?" And it was a Jewish cracker. Cracker, and we couldn't find it, and so I made Mr. Sidney's matzah with flour, water on a rock outside that I put a fire on.
Really,
and it was really meaningful because I guess at the end of the day, the whole ball game for me is about connecting to the unknown, my friend, Mr. Sidney. When I sing, particularly the Yiddish concerts, is when I formed it as a literal imaginary friend. When I look into the darkness when I'm on stage, you can always put whoever you want out there.
Yeah.
But at one point, I just put all the survivors of all the Holocaust, not just Jews, but Native Americans and African Americans who were killed on ships and people who are continually suffering to this day. And all those people, I put them all in the seats in the audience.
Right.
And therefore, I'm very comforted and not alone. And I know it's crazy, but I don't give a shit.
And it's not crazy. It's it's being of service. It's connecting to this universal idea that you have, and it's also honoring the memory, like you said initially, that if there's one person out there that remembers you, that honoring the memory of the lost is an important thing. I mean, that's the most important thing. That goes back to the carousel idea. Is that the biggest threat to civilization is the trivialization or forgetting the past?
I think so. I am not a believer that lay out on the couch or let's go over what happened in life and it will free me and unlock me and let me be peaceful.
I don't think so. Have you tried though? It doesn't do it. Because it's very difficult because you get into that dynamic where you get into that sort of repetitious victim mode where you're not really doing anything but circling around a thing forever.
Yeah. And, you can play that game and say, well, this is your mother, this is your father, this is the DNA of suffering of your people, et cetera. Great. If that's what rocks your boat, I don't buy it. I believe that this is my life. This is your life. Yeah. It's my job to do whatever I need to do to get through the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's a cognitive exercise. You make choices.
I think so.
But next 5 minutes, so you're on a 5-minute clock sometimes, huh? That's...
Yeah, I actually have a clock in front of me, and it's a chess clock, and I see how long you go, I see how long I go. Yeah. Sometimes maybe we'll do a speed round.
5 minutes, a 5-minute clock on your well-being. So when did you start singing?
I started singing in the choir at 7 years old.
The choir?
Friday nights.
Jewish choir?
Jewish choir in the synagogue. The boys' choir on Saturday morning in the synagogue, and on Friday night with the family choir at 7 years old, and that's where I heard music. I heard all the old guys singing and shuffling, and the cry, the voice, and that's where I heard it, and that's where I just became home with it. But
in Hebrew?
All in Hebrew, yeah.
Huh? So you really So those primitive melodies, those old sort of
yeah. And when we do that, a guy just sent me some sort of a 20-minute piece on Havana Gila, which I'm not very interested in these things that people send me on my phone.
Yeah.
Watch this. I want.
It's too much. It's just if you have enough people on your phone, it's like a full-time job.
I know. So, but this one, I wanted to be able to say something nice back. Right. So I looked at it, and the first 4 or 5 minutes, the guy was talking about prayer, and there were no words to Havana Gila. Talking about it was used as a celebration, the origins of the melody, etc. And then the guy says that in Judaism, whether this is true or not, I liked it. And he said in Judaism, the prayer, and they come from the Talmud and this, these various areas.
Yeah.
He said, but the most holy prayer of all, the most holy sound of all is music. And I love that.
I think it's true.
I feel it's universal.
It's magic.
I feel it connects us in ways that we can't even express. I have, I can't help but be so affected by learning about your loss. and feeling connected to all of us who are dealing with loss in such insane numbers. But none of that, whether it's historical, immediate, what's happening in our lives across the world, or personally to you, or what's happened to me, when it happens to you directly, you have to live it, and it is a mystery to me that I'm certain at this point. I know everybody deals with it. I know everybody comes to that end, whether you're awake or not, conscious or not. But I'm certain at this point, I will never understand it. When I lost my best friend, who we grew up with in February, and I went and sat with him, and what horrible thing happened, and kissing his head, and every day I'm just lost. And another dearest friend of mine who died a number of years ago, named Debbie Friedman. Did you know that name?
Mm-mm.
Debbie Friedman was of our generation, probably the foremost Reform Jewish composer of Reform music,
Mm-hmm.
Reform Jewish liturgy. But her gift wasn't, she just took the words from liturgy. But she would say to me, I don't know where the melodies come from. I don't know where they come from. And we used to have in common, because of our common struggle of dealing with depression and just trying to be peaceful. We would have a conversation where we would both say to each other at times, sorry, my wife's going out the door. We'd both say to each other at times, at our best, you get these notes, as I'm sure you've gotten from people saying, thank you so much. Your comedy or your work or your music got me through this time, got me through my father, my mother, my this, my that. And you're very grateful for this, unknown connection that, what we do, because we're not sitting with everybody when our work is being received. And we used to say to each other that she was at her best. She feels like this hose goes through her and just comes out kind of clean and uncorrupted. And I used to say to her, Debbie, I understand that so well, only it's the wrong kind of hose, meaning it doesn't have those little holes in it, like that garden hose, so none of it seeps into me.
Right.
And a good day, it comes through me, and there's not too much Mandy going out, so it's clean and available for you. But I wish it had holes so that it would get in.
No, I understand that. So so the idea is that you give, and there's a reward to that moment of giving, but you walk away depleted instead of full.
I wouldn't say totally depleted. I would just say maybe life would have been better if some leaks would have occurred.
No, I get it. I get it. Well, the grief thing, I don't it's insurmountable, and I can identify with what you're saying, because just yesterday I really tried to limit. She got sick in the house here, and then they took her away, and I never saw her again. And I didn't know. No, we didn't know. So.
And it's impossible to understand. How can I be talking to you right now, and one of us might not be here in an hour or whatever? And the friends that we've lost that way. And I not, all the people that have experienced this or what's going on now, I just want to share, because I just want to share something to just say that, don't feel funny or bad or like you have a problem. Maybe because every day you open up your phone and you read about numbers that are insane about who's dying all over the world and whatever. And so you're just overwhelmed, or you're having dreams that people are coming to get you, or it's over, or whatever, or whatever's going on. But I'll find myself just convulsed in sobs, weeping profusely. And thank God for Catherine, my wife, because she will literally she just sits on the couch with me and holds me. And sometimes I can't stop crying for an hour. And I can't tell you the trigger of the tear or the emotion or what brought it on. I just get overwhelmed. And she just holds me. And the other day, it was so clear to me, and I just want to say this, and it's nothing new what I'm about to say to you. You've probably said to others or heard yourself. But I'm listening to Debbie Friedman's music because I would sing with her, and I'm exercising, listening to music, and all of a sudden the floodgates go, and I'm gone for I can't stop. because I missed her so.
Right.
And it took me 6 years to have dreams about till I had the first dream about my father when he died when I was 18. And I was ecstatic when that dream came.
Yeah.
And every time where I'll my father in a dream, or I'll be overwhelmed that he's missed the kids, or I miss Debbie from hearing her music, or I take a walk with the dog and where's my buddy Bob?
Yeah.
And sometimes I cry, and sometimes I'm just fucking lost in the woods. I'm ecstatic that I'm having those thoughts.
Yeah.
Because I'm with them.
Yeah.
In a sad way, but it's better than nothing.
Oh yeah, I have dreams about her, and I wake up, and every time I have a dream about her, it's really nothing more than that she's here, that we're here, that we're together, and I'm like, oh my God, it was so you're okay, and then you wake up and it's terrible. But
let me offer this, and call me crazy if you want. I don't care. I see you on a Zoom screen. You see me. I'm looking at the room. I see my dog. This is all supposed to be what's called reality.
Yeah.
I have a dream where I see my father. You see Lynn, or my buddy Bob visits me. And that's the dream. That's your subconscious. Fuck you, is what I say. That's my brain having these thoughts, these images, these memories.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that they're any real or not as meaningful as looking at a photograph or having this conversation. That's reality, and the other's just a dream. It's not for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're both real for me.
Yeah,
if
why not?
my mind did it in whatever my brain works, I'm good with it.
Why not? Why not look at it like that? Why not? I mean, that's, you're being visited. You're spending time. I mean, this is what life is. And that thing you're saying is true, is that the horrible thing about grief and about everybody having to deal with it is it's as common as birth, as eating, as dying is as common as anything else we do as people. Shitting, right. Eating, being born, whatever it is. But the fact that we're conscious of our own mortality and the sort of weight of it and the feeling of loss and missing, and then your own mortality, and it's like I feel like it was the final kind of rite of passage to being, alive and grounded and in touch with the world, was this loss, and I'd never experienced it before. And it's devastating. Like, I watched a video, I try not to do it, but I watched a video of her yesterday, and just to sort of check in, just I have these weird pieces of film with her, singing or dancing or whatever. And it was just, it's just terrible. The loss is it's just terrible, and I'm so happy that you're able to stay in the crying, because I can't stay in it very long. Yeah, no, I stopped myself.
You spoke a lot. I read what you had to say about this period. I read about your trying to stay with the grief, and I wanted to chat with you a moment, because I listened a long time ago when my friend Robin Williams died, and you had done an interview with him and you played it. And Robin and I went to school together.
Yeah.
And I loved Robin.
Yeah.
And I knew him before he was Robin Williams.
Where, at Juilliard?
At Juilliard, yeah. And he was the kindest student in a place that was cutthroat.
Yeah.
The way people can be in those places. I want the part. I want the attention. I want.
And he left, though, right? He didn't finish, right?
No, he didn't finish. But Robin, you would be insulated. You would have like 20, 25 kids in your group. So you would do that. But you could go see the other groups work.
Right,
if you wanted
right, yeah.
People in the. And Robin would come in, and he was just such a cheerleader.
Yeah.
And he was just so supportive. And it was only unusual because no one else did that.
Mm.
No one else did it. And then we would go to Central Park and be on the promenade near 72nd. He'd put on his pantomime gear, and he'd walk around following people like he did in San Francisco. And then we would see each other at, I think it was called Lenge on Columbus, that sushi restaurant. We'd bump each other at the sushi bar every now and then. And then I was doing a concert years later, and I was doing a play at Berkeley, and I went backstage because he was going to do a benefit there, and I went to say hi.
Yeah.
And he was terrified, just terrified. He had on his colorful shoes that he was going to put on, and we were backstage. We were each going to go on, and he was just so frightened. And I'd run into him a couple times, like at Letterman or whatever backstage, and I would just see how frightened he was. And one day we had a dinner with my kids when they were little, and my son Isaac